Gender podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Welcome to everyone. This is the Women Gender Podcast. As you know it, this is Raj, your host, and we have a special guest. Hopefully, I'll get this right. Is it Jacia Kornwise?
Jacia Kornwise. Yep, nailed it.
Oh, yeah. So I've seen your website, which we will put on here as well. So you've done a lot of stuff. Obviously, you're an author. You can call it, a soul coach. And obviously a Tedx speaker, which you've done, which I've seen on the YouTube. So you've done lots of stuff. You've done lots of stuff on there. But obviously, if we can go at the beginning, like you mentioned on the website, which we report here as well, which is jaciakornwise.com, your official website. On there, and it tells obviously of your struggles at the beginning. So if you can just tell us a little bit about this, how did those struggles happen? How do you overcome the struggles? What do you have to do it?
Oh gosh, my whole life has really brought me to work with trauma and pain and transform it into joy and freedom. I had lots of challenges, born blind in my left eye, had my brother killed when I was 19, suffered multiple traumas, violent crimes, an ill father. We can go on. Many of us have had experiences this life, and yet I've always had a deep passion for people and a deep desire to help people find the light, even when we've gone through immense suffering. And so for myself, one of the things that I found to be super important is the ability to get in our bodies. We have these stories that take us away from who we really are. We get told that we're not enough, we're failures, we're wrong, we're bad, or we have horrible things happen to us. All of these things come together and can really make us freeze and just not live the life we're born to. So, as to help people find their joy and their resilience again. You still with me, Raj? There you are.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, definitely, and I think you've explained that really well, and obviously, and you've also obviously mentioned it on your website, which is on here, and I basically that is how you obviously you had some fears about snakes as well and stuff, and which I've seen on the website, which you mentioned on the website and stuff. About the dreams and stuff. So what do you think about dreams? You do mention a lot about dreams.
I love that you brought that up. No one's ever asked me that yet in an interview, which is really fun. I always was someone who was aware of my dreams. Even when I was little, they would haunt me. I remember the repetitive ones. And we often have repetitive themes, childhood dreams that represent things we need to process. And I had this consistent terror of snakes. They'd show up in my dreams. They started with little worms when I was little, and they became big snakes. They'd be dancing and wild on top of my head, running through me. It was craziness. And I would literally get sick in person. If I saw a snake, I would just almost throw up. And I was terrified of them until I started understanding that they were the symbol of female embodiment and empowerment and our Shakti, if you will, our life force. And as I began understanding that, I started painting them and making friends with them internally, and they started entering my dreams in positive ways. And eventually, I dared myself to wear a giant boa constrictor with someone who had a pet boa and dance with one, which I would be lying to say that I loved it, but I did it. Yeah. But I believe that dreams have incredible healing powers when we befriend them, and they're parts of us that get smushed down. Sometimes they're even larger than just ourselves. They can tie into the collective. So like a larger picture as well that comes even from our ancestral lineages. fears that are embedded in ourselves. So there's a lot of layers to dreaming.
So when you were doing that and you had the snake across your shoulder, was it around your neck? Was it the snake?
Yeah, it was wrapped around my neck. It was
Wow.
giant.
Do you know what type of snake was it? Was it like a python or was it something else?
It was a boa, I believe.
Boa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
that was really something. I couldn't believe I did it, but I knew I had to face my fears. And that's been a big thing, is anything I've ever been afraid of at some point or other, including public speaking. I used to have panic attacks when I would speak in public. So all of those things, I feel like there were symbols of what we needed to take ownership of. And it's almost like they're gifts to us if we can understand that there's wisdom inside them.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely, because like you said, everybody is fear of something, isn't there, really? I mean, it's not like nobody is like 100% where they're not fear of something. I think we're all
No,
fear of
I
something.
think most of us have fears. I mean, there are people who walk around, though, definitely who feel like they're afraid of nothing. And that can also come from trauma because they've faced so much, and perhaps they've lost that connection to wanting to live. And so they're not that afraid about if something happens to them. So it can go in that direction as well. I think I always had something very deep inside me, just knowing I was meant to be here and knowing that I wanted to live a life where I could shine and support other people, and just I just knew I was here for a reason, but I had to face a lot of challenges to get through that reason. Yeah. And writing the book was something for me that was always there. People would walk up to me and say, I dreamed about your book. And this book had not even appeared yet. I hadn't even started writing it. So even people with like astrologers would say, it's in your astrology chart to write a book. And I said, what? But I always, kept journals. And eventually I started writing in my 20s. It took a long time before I felt like I wanted to publish a book. This is my newly published book, The Love Ball Game, Embracing Yourself and Embodying Your Soul. And it was so exciting to finally get out, because for decades I put it away saying, no, this is just for me. But as I understood what it was that I needed to integrate to help support others and how to map that out, the book became not just memoir, but also skills and tools for people to learn how to come from stuck points and trauma, or even just stuck in a story, and come and live the life they're meant to, the life they dream to.
Yeah, and so when did this book release? Was it it was recently, was it?
Very recently, yeah, just in early December of 23. So just a month and a half ago. Yeah. Or 2 months. Yeah. 2 months now.
Right, okay. Yeah, we are going to talk more about this about your book, but like you said, you've done a lot of stuff, and you mentioned this on your website as well, that you did obviously you became a teacher of healing dance. Is that similar? Do you call it healing dance, or what's that exactly about?
Yes. So as you can see, I'm in my dance studio and I teach classes here. I also do online courses here. So for me, I always, as a little girl, always found myself dancing and moving. Not because I know steps. I don't, but I had that passion inside of just wanting to get my feelings moving and have fun with it. And through the years, it was just a passion. I never imagined I'd be teaching dance, but it was always what I came back to when I was sad, when I was happy, when I was angry, when I was joyful. There was always this way that dance was profound. And, I trained as a therapist, so I have the background in counseling psychology, and trained in shadow coaching and somatic tools and mindfulness. And I do work as an embodied soul coach. But for me, dancing and breath work as well are really important elements, because so often we get stuck. And so we're in our stories and we're talking to people, we're doing our work, but it's like it takes a long time and we're wondering why we're still not getting the results we need. And a lot of times I've found with my clients that they're not in their bodies. They're not actually connecting their breath and their movement. And that when we use dance as a therapeutic tool, not as a performance piece, not as something you have to get right, but as a way to just breathe and release and free things up. You can release anger, joy, fear, and actually use movement. So not only big dances, which I lead, like 5 rhythms. I trained as a 5 rhythms teacher, which is this fantastic practice Gabrielle Roth trained thousands all over the world, but it's a really profound movement meditation process. But even before that, I've been teaching something called the rhythms of acceptance, which came because I found exactly that movement helped me move through things. So I started bringing this to my clients and developing my own courses. And then when I met Gabrielle, her work just was so beautiful and phenomenal, and it combined with mine really well. And so I've continued to bring that to my students and refer my clients into it. And now when I work with people, I try, if they're open to it, I really invite them to use movement, dance, breath, micro movements, macro movements, courses, helping people really embody themselves, because it gets you unstuck so much quicker. You can spend years in therapy, but if you're not doing the release work and the breath work and the dance work, it really, you can just be a talking head and wonder, where is that joy? Or why am I still having these anxiety attacks? Or, it really frees that stuff up.
Yeah, because you do mention on your website, I think Thursday, where you mentioned wake up and dance. So is that um, basically the name of it? So wake up and dance, where you allow people to get free from all
So I
the.
have a few different options. Wake Up and Dance is a great first experience because you only have to try it once, and it's just a small little bite. It's an hour-long class where I help people get into their body parts and connect their mind, their emotions, their feelings, and set intention and move what's stuck inside through their body parts. And then we dance and we do a little mindset beginning and end. And it's a great reconnection with your day. So that's just like a little taste of it. I have courses called, so that was Wake Up and Dance on Thursday mornings. I have a full 12-week course called Rise Up and Dance with daily practices, dances, visualizations, meditations, and like a coaching teaching each week that people can go through. I have, for people who live locally, I lead workshops. I've led workshops all over and retreats using both 5 rhythms and rhythms of acceptance work. So there's a lot of ways to move and use movement in your healing practice. But that's a great one. In fact, anyone who's listening, if you're really curious about it, right now, if you sign up on my website, I have a freebie where if you can just let me know, sign up on my newsletter and say, I'd like to try one free. You get your first Thursday free just to have a little taste of what it is in a really safe and fun way.
Yeah, and then obviously we will post the link is going to be on the description as well, so you can check it out and yeah, absolutely. And do you think the reason why a lot of people need to do this is because everyone's got such a hectic lifestyle at the moment, where everybody's working nonstop. Some people are working like 6 days a week, overtime, and stuff. So people don't get the chance to release the stress and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. People, we go around like talking heads where we're literally not necessarily listening to the information our body holds, and our body holds our intuition. And when we either just regular people under stress, we disconnect from it if we have to keep following and being too busy and taking care of what's in front of us, whether that's our jobs or our families, sitting at a desk all day. And so when we start to get into our bodies, it really makes a difference. Just last week, someone came in from LA and they were like, God, I've been just sulking. I've been having a really hard time. And they came to class and they said, wow, I didn't realize how much I needed to move. They felt so much better just from 1 hour of practice. So yeah, just the stress of your life. And it definitely unpacks it. And it's a safe way to do it. Even if you think you can't dance, you don't need to dance. You don't need to know how to dance when you're with me. I'm the biggest goofball. It's all about just moving in your body and having fun. And if you're not feeling like you're a smiley, happy person and you're uncomfortable with it, you can even turn your screen off for a little and just move with yourself and just have a safe space and turn it back on when you want. So you don't even have to be watched if you're uncomfortable with it. Although we love having people say hello.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that does sound very good to do that kind of stuff. And obviously, personally, I when I didn't have anything myself, I started learning stuff like Tai Chi and that kind of stuff to make myself focused more better, focusing myself because I think you need something. Some people do obviously yoga to focus themselves. So you need something, I think, to definitely with the like you said, with the such a hectic lifestyle people are having at the moment, with the situation going on, isn't that really? Yeah.
That's so true. You know, Tai Chi and yoga, those are phenomenal ways to
Yeah.
ground and focus. I think that the thing that's interesting about freeform dance is that it's an inside out structure. So when you learn yoga or you learn Tai Chi, you're learning a structure. And what
Yeah.
I love, and I love that, don't get me wrong, I've done lots and lots of yoga in my life and lots of different practices, and they're
Yeah.
phenomenal. And what's really cool about freeform dance is it invites
Yeah.
you to listen to your inner structure in a way that nothing else does, at least the way I offer it, or something that's a freestyle, because um, it allows you to get beyond the rules and find out what's really in there. And there's a tremendous amount of life force and creativity that comes when you're looking for that from movement.
Yeah. And you've been very interested in, and you've mentioned this on the website. You've been interested in a lot of stuff where they say different religions, Hinduism, Christianity. Tell us a little bit about that. How did that happen? How were you? How did you get interested in?
Yeah,
Um,
those are good questions. You know, when I grew up in one religion, and then when my brother was killed, it made me question everything. Because when you lose someone you love, the
Absolutely.
whole world explodes. And my heart was broken, and all my beliefs about God. And I just had to start going, what is the meaning of all this? You know, I was young. And so I just was like, what is this life? And so I just started to look into every religion, every kind of tradition, trying to understand what the ancient, you know, worlds, what the different systems offered, to learn to soothe and find peace. And so I definitely, in my early 20s, went on a very large exploration to understand different cultures. And I found that there's beauty in every single one. There's wisdom in every single one. And yeah, it brought me to feel a universality actually within all of it, even though all of them are distinctly different. But it was trauma and grief that made me just kind of open up and ask, you know, how do people manage? How do people get through suffering? And so that was initially what brought me through into that question. And
yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then you've done obviously there. And then, like you said, you've been a speaker on TEDx talks where you've spoken, and I guess the people there. There's probably thousands of people there who you speak in front of. How did that happen? The TEDx talks.
that was actually all very, very recently. The past year has been an explosion of just everything, the book, the TEDx talk, quite a few other talks I've been on. You know, my father passed about a year and a half ago, and I sort of midwifed him alongside with my mom through his journey as a hospice person. And I didn't really know what that actually meant. And it meant I was actually literally taking him through his death passage. I didn't quite understand that till you face it. I was administering the medications. I was soothing him. I was there, and I was so grateful for all of my spiritual development that I've done this life, helping thousands of people as a counselor and a coach, that I knew I had the capacity. And as I sat with my family, I realized I was actually the one maybe who had the most capacity. I kind of led everything, and I didn't realize just how potent that was. And as I did that, it made me understand. So much happened inside me. I don't even know how to express all of it, except I came out the other side knowing there was nothing to stop me from doing anything that I was meant to offer to the world. It was time. It was time to stop holding myself back or believing that I wouldn't be accepted by everybody, or that I couldn't articulate in a way that people could understand. And it just exploded. And I also feel like my father from the other side just started whispering and being like, do this, do that. It's time, you know, get your book out there. In fact, I feel like he very much led me to the TEDx stage. It wasn't something I'd ever even thought to do. And I heard a whisper of, you're there, do this. And I literally like got
Yeah.
this thing, and I knew it was supposed to happen. My whole body lit up, which is another thing about being embodied. It's like we can hear the body chills, the sensations, the knowing, like I have to listen, I have to show up and try this. And the courage to follow came from that. And so suddenly, you know, I applied, and 3 months later, I got a acceptance letter that I was in, and
Wow.
6 months later, I was on a stage, and that was unheard of as far as I was concerned.
Yeah,
Wow!
because a lot of people, a lot of big names have done that, haven't they? They've been on TEDx talks, haven't they? Really, and that's a great platform, I think,
Yeah.
to tell it, to express yourself, tell people
I had a
about.
story. I had a very big story that I knew was different, and that's what led me to realize, this story is meaningful and it could help a lot of people. And I think that's part of what led me to do it. Is I really wanted to reach everyone, anyone who could possibly need to hear this. If I could change 1 life, 2 lives, 3 lives from my message, I wanted that to happen, and I had nothing left to fear, or I had nothing left to be ashamed of. Just I was ready to be visible, and it takes that. It takes a willingness to be really visible. Although a lot of people get up there and they're not that visible. So it just depends. It depends what they're talking about.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So you've done, like you said, you've done a lot of stuff, and regarding yeah, absolutely, and obviously, so how is it? Obviously, this is a full-time thing, which you do when you are helping people. So obviously, the dance is one. Is the dance one part of it? Is that one part of the stuff you do?
Yeah. So I have online coaching courses that include movement, breath, visualizations, meditations, and integrated coaching, journaling. I have that. I have
Yeah.
in-person and online people. I go to companies as well as retreats where I speak or lead events. I lead dance classes here. I lead breathwork classes here, as well as in other places. So it's been I've had so many different little skills through the years. I've been practicing. I've been doing this for over 31 years now. So different things have kind of built together. And at a certain point, I wanted just to offer all of it as a possibility, which is recently why I launched these embodied courses, as well as with this book. There's a course connected to it that's a 6-month long course that people can, decide to jump on, or do any of the smaller ones as well, or just meet with me one-on-one. So I have a lot of options. And, some people are really ready to do the movement work and they come for that. And they pick those courses. They're like, that's what I want. And that's what I'm ready for. Other people are like, I just want to meet you and see what a session's like and explore a little bit. And so I have different options. And of course, people have to be ready. The first step before the movement is just getting to know yourself, right? So if someone's at a very, very beginning level, I'm going to bring the movement and the breath in there, but in a much more subtle way if they're not comfortable with something really large, because there's different healing within micro movements, or just the ability to be like, okay, slow down and let's take a deep breath right there. And then I want you to feel what it's like to just push that feeling, or, there can be really small somatic tools we can use as well. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. So basically, is catering to how the person wants it, whether they want a 6 month one or whether they want a taster of exactly what's it all about.
Exactly. Yeah. I have lots of options, lots of ways for people to meet me and do my work. Recently I've been really, really promoting these packages that include the movement, because honestly, when I ask myself, what has made me as free and joyous as I am with the amount of intense trauma I've gone through, and as much therapy as I've done, as much coaching as I've done, not only given, but received, as many practices as I've done, as much meditation as I've done, breath work, without the dance, I would not have the joy and resilience that I do. It moves so much through me and through others, that there's this joy for life that it gives back. And so that's why, particularly these days, I'm really trying to help people understand the power of movement and dance. I mean, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk recently has written in his books, in the Body Keeps the Score, that movement, somatic-based therapies, and dance in particular is one of the most effective tools for trauma there is. And it really has not been recognized as more than just like, oh, it's fun, or, oh, it's an art form, as opposed to actually it's a powerful therapeutic tool. And so I really have been, letting folks know that this is really, when I look at my entire path, and all of it's helpful. And I don't know that you can just do one, but I think just doing that will break through a lot fast.
Yeah, and you've explained that well. Obviously, It says on there as well, embody love, 5 rhythms, dance, wave starts on there. Then yeah, you have different ones. So these are these like certain amount of people who join the class for that certain amount of period? Is that how it works?
If it really depends. If it's an in-person class, there's a certain amount. If it's an online class, it can be much, much larger.
Yeah.
And I have options for people on Thursdays to just do one time. And then I have, Rise Up and Dance, which is a 12-week course. So all sorts of options. And for someone who's just really curious about knowing more about me or my work, this is a really great way to start as well, because they can get a much deeper sense of who I am and the depth that I'm carrying and why they might want to work with someone like me, as well as just get a lot of tools like really quickly right in here. So it's a nice start too.
So how did you end up writing this book then? Was it always in a plan that you wanted to write it as well? Write a book about it, and was it
I
always?
always knew I was meant to write some of my stories, my inner life. I always knew that, and I've been keeping. I had parts of this book written like 20 years ago, but I needed to figure out how to turn it into a map that everyone would want to read. I thought for a while I was just going to write like a full-on like big memoir and New York Times bestseller style, which it could still become. But I mean that was like, and so therefore it was never perfect enough. So it just went back to the shelf. And then when I realized, you know what, my whole thing is you don't have to be perfect. You just have to offer it up, and it's perfect enough. There's so much in there. And so when I finally accepted that it's just time to get it out, no waiting for perfection, because we all die if we wait till time's right or things are perfect. And that's another thing my father's passing did for me, was really realizing there is no time like the present. Nothing is perfect. And this is an incredible opportunity to give what we have to give. And when you've got something to offer, it's just a great time to set it out there.
Yeah. So the book, and what's the response been like since you released the book? How's it been like, the feedback? And
I'm getting really great feedback. People are having really, really profound experiences from it. I've gotten some people who I didn't even know very well, writing me and saying, wow, that book is changing my life. Thank you. Or that just gave me hope. Or wow, I had no idea. So yeah, I'm getting good responses. It's just the beginning. I know it takes time with a book.
it does definitely. Books are something which does take time. Did it? How was it? Because obviously you help people, but obviously it is also classed as a business. So, but how was it regarding the marketing of this? And did it take time to market it, or did you have any help?
The truth is that marketing has never. I mean, this is my new process. Like, I feel like I'm just getting into the marketing plan of it now, which as a first time author, obviously I wasn't prepared to like go in the other way and get, I probably could have done a lot more on that. That being said, I definitely have marketing plans. I've learned a lot about that, and have a lot of different people, helping me and supporting this work and wanting it to get out. So, I trust the message will. Yeah, I definitely came in with an early thought. A book is not necessarily for me like the way that I expected. This just, when it came, it was just like, I can't wait any longer. When I knew I had a TEDx coming, I was like, I really want people to have ways to get to know what I offer. And it was just time. I waited too long in a way. Should have been out earlier, but here it is. So I'm super glad it's here.
And the name Love Ball Game, how was it always planned to be this title?
No, people were like, why didn't you talk about dance? Why did you talk about ball? But I did a talk called Strike Out or Listen In with Tag Talks. And I found myself using the metaphor about what happens when we don't listen to ourselves, and also what happens in love, how we keep striking out over and over again. And why do we do that? And what does it take to find love? And this book is really about the true romance with life is ultimately finding love in yourself. And so I use the love ball game as the metaphor of like, we're all little love balls looking for love. And we can go around the base over and over striking out, or we could learn, what does it mean to get to first base? What are the steps you take to get there, second, third, and how do we actually make home runs with our lives, with our hearts, with our journey. And so it became a great metaphor. And I thought it was fun because anyone who's like, oh, I don't want to read a dance book, they might want to read about the love ball game. So it's also playful, but then there's the embracing ourself and embodying our souls as a subtitle. So it does let people know that it's not just about baseball or something, because it's not about baseball at all. It's about love.
Yeah, absolutely. So do check it out, JaciaKornwise.com official website. Like mentioned, a lot of people will find this very interesting. So do check it out. And obviously, she has lots of plans which are catered to your needs. So you can do it as a class or one-to-one or whichever. You can do check it out now. JaciaKornwise.com. The link is going to be in the description as well. We'll share it on there. It's first of all, thank you very much for coming on. I know you're very busy today as well, and you're doing lots of stuff. So I'm sure it will. You're already doing so well. I'm sure it's gonna get even better and bigger and better for you.
You're so sweet, Raj. Can I ask you a question? What made
Sure.
you do the women's agenda? I was so curious. What?
What made me do it is just because I don't. I'm someone probably similar to yourself, which I don't do stuff like competing with people or copying anyone. I like to do my own stuff, which I want to be unique and something which makes even if it's a 1 or 2% difference, makes a bit of a difference as well. So I thought there was a bit of a gap here where women won't get the promotion and stuff, and more people podcasts were catering towards people who were already massively famous and because of the views and stuff. And I didn't want to be following that. I wanted to be doing something a bit different than that, to be honest. So that's why I came up with this when I did a bit of research and stuff. I thought, let me try this and see if it works and see how it
I
goes.
love it. And how about the women element? You wanted to be a supporter of women?
Absolutely. I've always been a supporter of women, and women have always been a supporter of myself in my life. Whether it's been my sister, whether it's been my cousin sisters, they've been great supporters of me and my friends as well. There's been a lot of women who've been good friends of mine, who've been supporting me as well and giving me advice. So and obviously my mom. So yeah, there's always been lots of women in my life. Yeah, and my friend's sister. So there's been loads of women who've been great pillars of strength for me across my life and now as well. So I think that's all been the case, and I wanted to put it on a platform and see what happens and see if I can, keep on making it bigger and hopefully make a little bit of a difference somewhere down the line.
That's fantastic. I love it. Thanks, Raj. I appreciate you having me on the show.
No. Thank you very much, and I'm wishing lots of success for your book. I'm sure it'll do really, really well.
Thank you.
And have a fabulous day. Thank you very much for coming on.
My pleasure. And feel free to reach out. It's good to meet you. And yeah, for anyone listening, definitely, if you jump on my website, you can come and get your freebie. Just let me know when you want to. Have to send me a separate email saying which class you want to attend, and I will send you a link, and you get to have a little dance with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Gonna come dance, Raj?
Do I dance?
Will you come dance? Will you? I'm gonna get you to come.
I wouldn't mind, to be honest. I wouldn't mind if I could, then I definitely wouldn't mind on there because I'm a former, like I said, I do. I wouldn't say I'm a great dancer.
You don't need to be. You don't need to do anything except being willing to wiggle, laugh, and jump around and release.
Yeah, but I do a few dance moves of my own because I do believe in dance. And I think it's a great thing, dance.
Well, I'm not a dancer either. I just move my body. There's a difference, It's really about coming free. And what it does is in the morning, or for me, it's morning. I guess for you, it would be midday or early evening, but it would be a check-in with your body. So you would get to actually really listen to the messages your body's giving you. You're going to get a lot of wisdom and then get some good physical release. So come check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I know I would like to at some point. Definitely, I definitely would like to. I would like to do that. Definitely. Thank you very much,
Welcome.
Justin. Thank you very much for coming on, and obviously wishing you lots of success with your book. And you're already helping so many women already and people. So yes, thank you very much, and
Thank
all the best
you.
for this. Thank you very much.